What was crazy is while we were trying to find solutions to do that, I didn't really tell the media too much because they're a bunch of scumbags.
Jeez.
And basically what would happen is every time I would, announce something, these pieces of would literally reach out and try to get this canceled. So I got to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm not telling these people anything. They're on a need-to-know basis.
Is Dana White full of contradictions? You be the judge. One day prior to this interview with Pat McAfee.
And now with Slap, and the media has been incredible. The media has been incredible through this thing. It's like, if any of you saw the Chris Rock special that's out, Selective Outrage. That's what's happened here with Power Slap.
He said this, which is inaccurate, but considering the source.
I love the media. You guys have helped me build this thing into a monster over the last 8 weeks. I just want to thank you all.
Whatever your deal is, or whatever I'm not a real political person.
Come on, you want to hear from him? Yes.
One of the things that I've really tried to do through this whole thing is stay out of politics. There's a lot of people to thank, but let me start with Governor DeSantis. Ask anybody who's ever known Trump, has been friends with him for years. Everybody loves him.
It's not the least bit surprising. Take this into account. He will always try and do the best PR for himself, even if his claims are unfounded.
It's the same thing with Flap. If you look at what all these scumbags have been writing and doing for the last 8 weeks, they have helped me build this thing into a machine.
Okay, let's pause here for a moment. Look, the point of it being a machine is inaccurate, okay? AEW, a strong lead-in to Power Slap, and White's program mustered a measly 220,000 viewers. The single worst week for this machine, he calls it. You can see the numbers for yourself. With AEW continually posting good numbers for viewership, it's clear folks intentionally turn the channel when Power Slap appears on their screens. Think of this like Endeavor with UFC President White when he committed an act of domestic violence against his wife in Cabo San Lucas on New Year's Eve. They are intentional with how they handle it, which is to not even acknowledge the events transpiring. We have gone over the work of former football player and wrestler turned neuroscientist who holds a PhD, that being Chris Nowinski. He too has spoken out against Power Slap because of the obvious to see brain injuries occurring in real time.
In my opinion, slap fighting should not exist. It's completely unnecessary danger in my opinion.
Dr. Brian Suterer concurs.
The cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve, controls the muscles of our face. It's extremely important for expressions, for movement, for me just sitting here talking. I could not do that if I have a damaged facial nerve. I have it highlighted here in green. And so the facial nerve itself actually comes out from the skull, sort of up underneath and behind the ear, comes out and then branches to control the top part of our face, kind of the middle part of the face, and then the lower part of our face around our mouth and lips. It's not hard to see how this green nerve on the side of the face is right in the region where these competitors are striking one another with what a lot of times amounts to basically a palm rather than a true slap. One of the signs of a facial nerve injury is drooping of the face.
White's counter argument, which does not have merit, is, well, what about boxing? They have hits to the brain. They have hits to the head. What about the sparring? Blah, blah, blah. Nowinski would reply, in slap fighting, you're taking out everything that's interesting to watch and everything sporting from boxing and just doing the brain damage part, including what is within the rules, that if someone flinches, if they want to defend themselves, it is not allowed. So you have to take hits to the face and brain without even trying to defend yourself. Nowinski would add, boxers have softer hits because of the gloves, and this is untrained people. You could be certain that somebody with enough training could kill people on a regular basis with enough practice. Stephen J. Klubeck served as chairman at the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and he resigned rather recently from his position. Stephen helped sanction slap fighting, which he even said, quote, I made a mistake. And he questioned the stupidity of slap fighting. Quote, "I'm not happy about it." Nowinski said organizers of slap fight events like Dana White are essentially taking advantage of the fact that we don't have the data for what happens to people in the sport yet. But I promise you, if this were allowed to continue, it will be a nightmare, close quote. A few closing points. Dana White will always be his own defender and never admit wrongdoing. And he is viewed as this rebel. He takes on the media. He doesn't give a flying four-letter word, which is reminiscent of somebody that he has spoken very highly of, that being Donald Trump. When in reality, this guy who takes on the media, really we're just exposing the facts and keeping him in check. That's all that this practice is. That is what the media does. It's about checking the powerful, reporting on the elite, their shortcomings, their corruption, bringing exposure to stories that might not have a spotlight shown on it. When Dana White pulls these tricks, it is a playbook as old as time that basically says, believe me, I've done it. You're here to see me. You are my rambunctious fan base. No matter what I do or say, listen to me, don't listen to them. They are out to destroy us, when really, he doesn't care about you. Sort of like how Tucker Carlson makes fun of and criticizes his own audience in text messages that we have now seen in the Fox News lawsuit, and even what he has said previously. He does not care about his fans. He cares about the money and the power. That is what this is. And I do find it interesting that while White is known as a union buster who has been sued by former UFC fighters previously, no health care, he has fought the Ali Act, and he has used the power of lobbying, yet he has said he is not political. The irony.